welcome to our TV show. Our guest this morning is Miss Gina. Miss Gina right here, who is well-known gaslight expert, and later on we will have the second guest, who was once a victim in our topic for today. And I am your host Nawal, taking you through this session. So let's welcome them with a big round of applause. It's an honor for us to have you all with us this morning. So for today in our topic, we'll be talking about gaslight. The gaslight was coined referred to misogynistic emotional abuse, but it is clear far more of us are suffering than we may realize. You might be familiar with gaslighting in the context of relationships, but this manipulative tactic also works en masse. So over the past few years, the use of the term gaslighting to refer to this phenomenon has shot through the roof, while the word itself has been our dictionaries for over half a century. Its precipitous increase in usage began around 2013 and hasn't slowed since. So we'll be moving on to the next session where we'll be asking a few questions to the expert of the field itself. We welcome Ms. Gina to answer all the questions itself. So Ms. Gina, can you tell us what is the definition of the gaslight self?
So, hello everyone. So, gaslighting actually is referred to a specific type of manipulations, which the manipulator is trying to get someone else to question about their own reality, their own perceptions. So, and it can always be a serious problem according to the psychology.
Thank you for the explanation, Ms. Gina. So next question is, how does this gaslight happen in the relationship?
So, on the surface, gaslighting might first appear as the arguments between two parties. So, but in fact, gaslighting is a tool that used to make the victim guess how they feel and what they think, so the aggressor can be the upper hand. So, when you try to argue your perspective, they cut you off by shutting down the conversations. So then you will feel guilty and you're thinking like if you're doing anything wrong. So this behavior becomes increasingly worrisome the more it happens. So this is an example of emotional abuse.
Thank you for the explanation, Ms. Gina. We'll be moving on to the next question. What is the signs of the gaslighting?
So the first sign of gaslighting in relationship is they always call you too sensitive and crazy. So when you express your needs or your opinions on something. So for example, they will always say, "Why are you being so dramatic?" And also like, "You are just trying to confuse me. You are not making any sense." So this is the sign of gaslighting in relationship. So in addition, if someone gets gaslight in relationship, the aggressor will insist that they are right and refuse to consider the facts that you provided. For example, that just not make sense on you just read on the internet. So this is the phrases that minimizing your feelings, and it means to make you questions about your own reality and make you feel stupid. This is the signs of gaslighting.
Okay, so now we know what are the signs of the gaslighting. Now let's hear more about the impact of the gaslight mentally and physically towards the victim.
So, gaslighting actually can affect a person's social life. So, the abuser, they may manipulate them into cutting their ties with their family members or with their friends. So the person will try to isolate themselves because they believe that the family or the friends are untrustable and there is like unlovables. And also, the victim of gaslighting will always doubt about their perceptions, and also they have the trouble of making decisions. They are less likely to voice their opinions, to weigh their feelings and emotions. So not only this, gaslighting may lead a person to develop mental health issues. So the constant of self-doubt and can contribute of gaslighting, and low self-esteem may lead to depression.
Miss Gina, could you tell us about the ways to respond to the gaslight in a relationship?
So, okay, when you are experiencing gaslighting in relationships, try to get some physical space and taking a break, like just go for a walk or doing something that you like, because it can help you to clear your mind and keep calm. So next, you should speak up about the behavior. So gaslighting works because it confuses you and shake your confidence. So if you just show that behavior doesn't bother you anymore and just be confident of yourself, so you can get yourself out of this relationship. And also, lastly, I would like to suggest to seek for the professional support because sometimes the gaslighting might be abusive and serious.
Now we have all knew about the definition, the signs, the impact of the gaslight, and the ways to respond to the gaslight itself. Alright, so we'll be back and stay tuned. See you after this.
Makcik, don't cry.
Tolong buka mata, please.
All your favorite Malay blockbusters on demand. Subscribe to Astro Citra at 590 per month.
2 full meals, $5.99 each. Whopper Royal Crispy, 2 fries, 2 drinks. Double them up or mix and match. Whatever you want, we're into that. BK, have it your way.
Now we are back. So let's move on to the next session and hear more about gaslighting from the victim herself. We'll welcome Miss Cora. So Miss Cora, could you tell us more about the experience that you have been through in this gaslight relationship?
My experiences in this gaslighting relationship happened so many times. There was this one morning I woke up and just wanting to, cuddle a bit before getting out of the bed. Then suddenly he turned away and continued to sleep. But I think it was fine for me at that time. So I went to the kitchen to make breakfast, and a few minutes after, he came in with his, moody face. I don't know why, but suddenly he blamed me for waking him up when I wasn't even trying to. I hardly touched him. And then he told me to stop ruining his day by disagreeing what he said earlier. He gave me the silence treatment look, and suddenly he was sorry. I was in a confusion, so I apologized and subconsciously admitting that it was my fault, even though it wasn't actually. I just felt the urge in me to do so. On the next day, I tried to talk about him always making me to clean up his mess, but he ignored me all the way, saying that I purposely wanted to argue with him again. He told me everything was perfectly fine until I brought it up. He told me that I always did the same thing, that I always ruin everything. So each day we will have a fight, small fight, big fights, whatever. He told me I got problems. He literally mentioned this so many times. He said that is also the reason why you don't have so many friends. We fought again, and he told me I was overreacting the situation, that I have the anger issue. He belittles me so much. But again, I was sorry, not him. But the thing was, the way he blames me sometimes, his voice tone was just very soft-spoken. So anyone else who could overhear our conversation would blame me. Because, I was loud, like how I am right now. And yet sometimes he reminds me that no one could ever love me the way he did. That I will always need him and no one else.
You are a very strong woman, Miss Cora. Then how long has it been for you ever since you are in that relationship?
I think personally, ever since that I realized that it was a toxic relationship, maybe 5 years back.
So if you don't mind me asking, how does it started? Is it at the very beginning of the relationship?
How? I actually don't remember how did it started, but all I remember is that after like 2 years of our marriage, and like the pressure that we get from the aunties and our family's member and our friends, like they keep on asking about how our lives is and about child, and I think maybe that's why he starts getting cold with me.
Okay, so my last question. How did you recover from this gaslighting?
I guess in the beginning it was quite hard, because of him. I could barely trust anyone, even including myself. Constantly, during those years, my feelings were considered as invalid. And when you keep on hearing this from someone you love and someone that you trust, that kind of things really breaks you. You get it? Like, so the first thing I tried to do was to control my feelings and like having an affirming mantra like, you matter, my feelings matter, it's okay to prioritize yourself. So that sentence has been going on and on for my recovery even until now. Like, remember when I said I have like trust issues? Yeah, because of that, I will always be collecting snapshots of whatever important statements or things so that I know it does exist. And like when people trying to argue with me, I'll be like, no sir, you cannot find me. I have the evidence. So the new me, I don't keep my feelings at the beginning anymore. I decided to speak up whatever I have in my mind, even if it will end with long arguments. Sometimes, if I did have another episode of like mental breakdown, yeah, I will stay quiet for a minute or two to calm down myself, then distract myself with my hobbies, such as like sketching, singing, like channeling my feelings into something else. And if that didn't work, I would usually call my best friends or my family and talk to them about it. Even though like they're not going through anything that I'm going through, but I guess it did help me by having someone else to hear my problem. Like the burden felt lesser. Like how Miss Gina said earlier, I did involve myself with a professional support. I went to the therapist a few times and they would always suggesting me new ways to overcome my issues. So here I am, not having anger issue, just someone who was abused mentally.
Alright, now we have heard from two of our guests today. Thank you, Miss Gina, for sharing the symptoms and tips for us, and also to Miss Cora for willingly sharing your bitter experiences here. I guess that is all for today. I'll see you guys again next week at the same time. Thanks for watching What is Up Today.